What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing another film breakdown of the All-22 between the Dallas Cowboys and the Buffalo Bills. As we all know, the Dallas Cowboys had a stinker. It was a terrible game. They lost 31-3. And yes, I'm going to say 31-3 because that garbage touchdown at the end did not count, even though it was, it helped them. And if you guys want to know my full thoughts about that entire game, be sure to visit the post-game reaction video, which I know you guys have. We're almost to 1,000 views on that, so thank you very much. I really appreciate it. But I'm going to show you 5 plays, in my opinion, that were very vital to the way that this game panned out. And honestly, if they go one way or the other, we're really looking at a different ball game here, and I don't think it was much of a beatdown. I know that's a lot to say, but I don't know if it's as much of a beatdown as a lot of people thought, because if these plays go another way, it's a more competitive game than I had predicted. But let's go ahead and jump on in, and be sure to like and subscribe, and let's take a look at the film. So here we go. This is one of the first plays of the game here. This was the opening drive for the Buffalo Bills, and this is why we talk about opening drives and being so important. And, they set the tone. They really do. And we're going to take a look at the personnel, too, for the Dallas Cowboys defensively, because it was really strange what they did. But look, as soon as I saw this opening drive, I was like, man, this is going to be a tough day, because the Bills set the tone. They said, we're going to be more physical than you. We're going to run the ball. And, it doesn't set the tone. Nothing does it better than running the ball down your throat like that and pushing that line. And they set the tone like that. But let's stop it here. Let me show you a couple of things why this play really set the tone, not only for the push and their offensive line doing work, but this is something that's been pointed out for the past 24 hours or so. Take a look at this personnel, right? Obviously, the Cowboys are lacking linebacker depth, with Leighton Vander Esch most likely being out for the season, Overshown being out for the season with his injury in the preseason, and the Cowboys just really haven't addressed that linebacker depth, which I've talked about adamantly throughout the season. But if you take a look at this personnel right here, Damone Clark, obviously a linebacker. Marquise Bell, really quick, has had a great season, but he's originally a safety, so he's a little bit smaller. You can even see the size difference between the two. But now you got Dono down there, Donovan Wilson, and you got Curse right here. So not a lot of size that you need in a physical winter game on the road. And you could see they got pushed around all day long with this personnel set. This was not the first time, and this was not the only time that you saw it. This was consistent, and this is why the Bills were able to run the ball down our throats, and it just really set the tone for a rough day for the Dallas Cowboys. And here we go. Here's another play for the drive. You guys probably already know what's going to happen here, but this is why it's so pivotal, right? We'll play it out here first. Good defense. The defense does its job. It forces a field goal, but you'll see it, and it's actually better seen on the other angle here. But the defense does its job. They had a long day from hindsight, right? Knowing what happened for the rest of the game. But if this goes their way, this penalty, and if it's not called, which, by the way, this was such a soft penalty. I don't care if you're a Cowboys fan, Bills fan. As a football fan, this is a flop, and that is not a penalty by DeMarcus Lawrence. You could tell that little shove, he gets thrown down. But anyways, regardless, if it's hard to judge this because it's a penalty that shouldn't have happened. But because it happened, 3 points most likely turns into 7 points, and now you're in a 7-0 hole instead of having confidence that you stopped them at the line in the red zone and you forced a field goal. But that was one that really turned the page and really affected this game to start off. And here we go. This is the third play I wanted to show you because this one was really important. I know a lot of people, including myself, talked about Mike McCarthy not having his best game as a play caller, and he did not have his best game as a play caller. What I saw was this offense resorting back to the earlier weeks that we saw this team with the short passes and being timid and being shy and not getting into pace and not being aggressive. Carpe omnia has been the mantra for this team. It means seize everything. And there was nothing in this play call that showed they wanted to seize everything. And what do I tell you guys every single time? You can tell because when they're running laterally and running horizontal routes and crossing routes, and they're going left to right and east to west. That's not the way to open up the field, and the Bills really forced them to do that. But when the Cowboys play to their strengths with their playmakers and they attack downfield and they send their playmakers downfield, it really opens up the field, and it really opens up the play calling and the game plan for the Cowboys. Now, with that all being said, there were issues with the play calling, right? But this play call, man, this play call was superb. This was the first drive, and Mike McCarthy calls the right play call because they've been playing this all day. Take a look at my pointer here. This is what the Bills did all day, and unfortunately, this is now on the tape, and a lot of teams are going to be doing this here in the next 3 weeks. But they were playing two safeties, and they were basically challenging Dak Prescott in the offense, like, hey, we'll give you everything underneath. But this was a great play call earlier in the game that exploited that, but unfortunately, it was just not our day. I mean, Dak Prescott makes this pass most of the time, but he didn't hear it. Imagine if he did. But this play just shows you how close it was with the Cowboys capitalizing and coming, being ready for this game. And Mike McCarthy called a really great play right here. It's just, unfortunately, Dak did not make that throw, and Dak needs to make this throw. Sorry, I'm talking too long. We got to see the play, but look at that. Perfect play call. Brandon Cooks in his speed beats his man. It's just overthrown by Dak. It's just, I know for a fact if this play hits, it's a touchdown. And this was such a great play call because the safety bites on that movement of the line going right. Just a incredible play call, great execution, but you got to hold Dak accountable here. He's been a great player, obviously, in the MVP discussion and conversation, but he just has to make this throw on the road. This is MVP players make this, and if he makes this, this is a totally different start to this game. And look at the attention CeeDee Lamb is getting right there. He gets the double team, and Brandon Cooks is wide open, man. I went to sleep thinking about this play, just thinking of, man, what if, but that was a huge turning point early in this game. And as you can see from this formation, you know exactly what's going to happen. This is a game of inches, y'all, and this is why it's so important. It's so hard to win in this league consistently. So that's why I try to tell you guys, and you've seen the videos, relax. This is a game of inches, and if it goes the other way, the Cowboys are obviously in a better position. But just how this is crushing. This is crushing to any kind of team, but especially this is crushing to any kind of team trying to win on the road. Just so close. This is just unfortunate. This is just a bad break for the Cowboys. I mean, Sam Williams does a great job of breaking through the line, but then the ball just goes to the right a little bit. This is just unfortunate, and honestly, I couldn't be mad at Sam Williams at this point. I mean, look how close that is. He breaks through. Great player. We've seen him do this all season long, and that's why I'm kind of relaxed with this game. Is like, obviously we got beat and it's 31-10, but man, there were a couple of plays where if it goes the other way, I mean, look how close that is. Great play by Sam Williams, and obviously if he blocks it, the penalty doesn't count because he made contact with the ball, but just so close, and that really turned the page too because the Bills went down and turned this into points, right, to make it 14-0, or I believe it was maybe 21-3. But the defense did its job, and that would have been huge for this defense to have that confidence. And you can kind of just see it, right? This game was a snowball effect. Just bad play after bad play after bad break after bad break, and it just spiraled out of control, and it did not go the Cowboys' way. But if it does, things are looking different, and that's why I feel a little bit optimistic after this game. And last but not least, this was a huge play again. Just another example of a bad break, bad timing. And I'll say this is the fumble from Stefon Diggs. I got to say, the review was a little bit quick because when I saw the play happen in real time, and comment down below if you felt the same way, I didn't see the fumble. I thought Stefon Diggs was on his back, and they, how usually some players do, they rip the ball out after the player is on the ground, kind of just to, set the tone, the mentality. That's what I thought initially because it was so, I just didn't see it. And then the next play, they're so quick, and they don't even show a replay on the Fox broadcast. But this one's just another tough break that personally I can't get too mad about. I know people are like, well, the refs didn't call. I mean, this is so close, really. You got to understand the refs, the coaches, the players aren't seeing as close as we are on the Fox broadcast. So obviously we see it and we're like, oh my gosh, challenge it. But they're not seeing that. And because of, if you watch the actual broadcast of the game, from this moment to the other moment where the next play is called, it's so quick. Like, there's no way Mike saw it in real time. Because there's 3 guys around Stefon Diggs. Mike's not going to see that because he's on the right side of the field. But then the team upstairs that Mike has, they got to see the replay too. But because it's so quick, they're not going to get the call down to Mike to say, hey, you need to throw that flag. You need to challenge it. But this is just a bad break too, because look at that first drive, right? The DeMarcus Lawrence penalty. You settle for the field goal. It's 3-0. The next drive, Sam Williams blocks the punt. We get the ball back. The Bills don't score. We get the fumble right here, and this actually turned into points for the Bills. So you look at that, the Cowboys defense did its job, but just penalties and mishaps and bad breaks didn't go their way, and it really set them up in a bad position. And it, the defense didn't play. They got ran over. We know that, but they did a lot of good things that were pretty successful that you can take away. And this was just a bad break. Wish he challenged it, because this was a clear fumble, and the Cowboys would have had the ball back. And, of course you have to have the offense get going, but the defense had a lot of opportunities here. And this was kind of the personnel that I told you guys about. You got Marquise Bell, Damone Clark, Jaron Kearse coming up here. That's something that we saw, and the Bills exploited that. And, just a terrible game, and a lot of things didn't go our way, unfortunately. But there we go. That's our film breakdown for Week 15 between the Cowboys and the Bills. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and defend their play. The Cowboys did get gashed, and they got out-physicaled, out-schemed, out-hustled, all those things. But you can see it's a game of inches, and we've seen a lot of games where this has gone the Cowboys' way. I mean, they're 10-4. They're not 4-10. And I think after, taking emotion out of it and seeing the footage and seeing those big pivotal plays, you can understand, wow, or at least I can hope you can understand, like, wow, maybe it's not as bad of a beatdown as I thought it was, because if those things go our way and if little things like that can get cleaned up, I mean, that's the thing. If there's any Cowboy players sitting in that film room today, I hope this is what the coaches are showing. Like, look, you did your job. It's just this one thing. If you don't push Josh Allen, if you block this kick, if you make this read, if you make this throw, this is a totally different ball game. And it's hard to win in this league. And those are the kind of small details that you need to execute against, better opponents to win games like this. And it's just be thankful we're getting to that point here in Week 15, and we're not worrying about this in a wild card or divisional round. This game is important for the Cowboys, and like I told you guys early in the week, win or lose, we're going to learn a lot about these coaches, about these players, about this team, and we did. You can look at this film and know what the Cowboys need to do now in order to take that next step, and there's no doubt about it. I feel confident in this team. I feel optimistic about this team, and I still believe they're going to win the NFC East, as you saw last night with the Seahawks beating the Eagles, because the Eagles are the Philadelphia Frauds. But be sure to like and subscribe and comment down your feelings all about this. I really want to know. But let's move on to Miami and get ready for that big game, and I'll see you guys later. Go Cowboys.